Hello, and welcome to Introduction to Homeland Security with Dr. David Bugg. In our first lecture, we're going to talk a little bit about just a general overview of some of the things that we need to start thinking about in terms of Homeland Security, particularly issue of threats, preparedness, and defense. So we begin with one question. Why worry about rare events? Well, we have to go back a little bit, back to 9/11, 2001. Homeland Security, as we understand it today, is a response to those events that happened on that day with the terrorist attacks against the United States. Many people are concerned, based upon real events such as those, about the possibility of a new mass casualty event, such as a natural disaster or a terrorist attack. Mass casualty event is defined as any quantity of casualties that surpass the capabilities normally available from local resources, such as medical and other first responders. And so mass casualty events include pandemics, hurricanes, heat waves, floods, earthquakes, terrorist attacks, military strikes, shipwrecks, plane crashes, fires, tornadoes, explosions, blizzards, industrial accidents, riots, structural collapse, among others. And as we've seen in recent history, many of these events have actually occurred, some in your lifetime, some in recent history. Now, one of the things that we know is that many types of natural disasters are increasing in frequency, and other types of mass casualty events, while they may occur infrequently, still happen often enough that preparing for them can help mitigate the loss of life if they do occur. And so this is why we worry about rare events, because we do know they happen. And even though we may not know when they'll happen or exactly how dangerous they'll be, we do need to be prepared for what might come. Following 9/11, we started to hear the phrase, the new normal. So in the days after 9/11, in a world where nuclear material could be turned into a dirty bomb, where biowarfare loomed and weaponized anthrax became all too real, acts of terrorism lurked everywhere, the U.S. was ill prepared for the threats posed by this new normal. Even though discussion about Homeland Security had been taking place prior to 9/11, and some mechanisms and experience were in place to respond to this terrorist attack, developing an appropriate response was largely unknown. President George Bush and Donald Rumsfeld had been thinking about what changes they wanted to make to address national security concerns for 9 months, and responding to terrorist attacks was part of that planning. Their plan was about to be released when the 9/11 attacks took place. With slight modifications made, the plan was released on September 30th of 2001. What we're studying this semester, Homeland Security, came into effect after 9/11. 9/11 showed us that a non-state actor could attack the United States to create mass casualties and undermine the security of the nation. Biowarfare was a real threat, and on September 18th, weaponized anthrax started arriving by mail. America was not prepared for domestic weapons of mass destruction attacks. Due to a long history of disagreement at the federal level about what the focus of Homeland Security should be, a decade's worth of warnings were not sufficient to set a plan in motion. The following questions represent the debates that prevented consensus from being developed, so the coherent plan for Homeland Security could be put into place prior to the events of September 11th. First question, is preparedness more about military mobilization or civilian protection? Second question, is it more about psychological preparedness of the populace or physical preparedness of national infrastructure? Third question, should the focus be on military support or civilian welfare? Fourth question, as the likelihood of attacks on cities increases, should we emphasize evacuation of citizens or sheltering in place? Fifth question, is civil defense a means of messaging the enemy and providing deterrence, or messaging our citizens and improving the survival of individuals? And the final question, Should the threat of a terrorist weapons mass destruction take priority and attention and resources from FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or any other branch of government? What these questions tell us is that we need an organizing principle. Most presidential administrations have tried to strike a balance in answering these questions, because really the answer to all of those questions is both. Both issues posed need to be addressed. It's really not a simple matter of saying that one is more important than the other. It's a matter of striking a balance to figure out how to do both things. Currently, this is achieved through creating preparedness goals, having the whole nation prepared for any threat at every level, risk management of critical infrastructure, national infrastructure, and cyber incident coordination. Over the course of the semester, we'll dive deeper into all of those topics, as well as many others. Thank you for joining me on this journey into exploring Homeland Security this semester. I look forward to talking with you and discussing these issues in greater detail in our in-person class meetings. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.